Microphone check 1, 2. Microphone check 1, 2. Think I'm good. I think I'm good. I think the sound is just right. We have a lot to go over tonight. I mean, it's like, I mean, what if, you know? That's going to be my question for tonight. Hold on one second. I got to dial up a little some warm up, clips. Warm up clips. Hold on. Okay, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay. Uh, okay. What's this? Got that over there. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Boom. Boom. We're gonna. No.
You are giving me 10 million.
Okay, let's go back. Okay, we're not gonna go over her yet. I'm going to show you a positive role model.
All right, guys. So just like athletes who.
Okay, a real doctor right here. I want to set the bar. There is nothing keeping Black men from achieving this. Nothing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say it's easy because it's not. But they, you know, you could achieve this if you put your mind to it. Unfortunately, the problem is that even our role models aren't putting their mind to it. What they're putting their mind to happens to be other things that aren't that great. So I know it's been a little while since I've done a live stream, but you know, life gets busy, you know what I mean? Things happen. But I guarantee you, uh, me and my friends, we got some fire lined up for you. We got some fire lined up for you. And we're gonna be putting out a bunch of videos, a bunch of live streams, and a bunch of posts breaking it all the way down for you. Without further ado, let's go over Dr. Antonio Webb's. He's a spine surgeon, by the way. And let me show you the efforts he puts in to be one of the best in his field. Here we go.
All right, guys. So just like athletes who practice for big games, they prepare, put in a lot of time outside of the court or field. We do the same thing as surgeons. We practice a lot. So in the cadaver lab here, we're about to do some dissection as well as mess with some instruments, learn some different techniques, and just practice. And that's how we learn as surgeons. You guys gonna check it out?
Yeah, as you can see, they're putting in a lot of effort to be the best they can be. They know people's lives depends on it, and they put in the work.
Right now, we're just taking some x-rays and doing some dissection, learning the anatomy. Learning never ends, and knowing your anatomy is really critical as a surgeon. So,
As a surgeon, how many of you men out there aspire to be a surgeon? Think about it. You're not making, well, you're making a lot of money. You are making money, but you may not be like football player money. But why does people, especially in our community, go after something that only 2,600, probably at the most maybe 10,000 athletes have that opportunity. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so just got done with the lab, learned a lot, was able to teach a few residents and other surgeons that are here in town, and
That's how good he is. He's teaching other surgeons in town how to get down. Well, I guess it's time for me to break it down even further. Let's go to the problems we have now. I show you the bar. I show you a benchmark. Now here you go. Here we go with the problems. Here we go.
The quest for attention or fame on the internet drives people to do some pretty insane things.
Absolutely true. Could not be more accurate. They do some pretty insane things.
Some people will go as far as blatantly filming themselves committing crimes for a few.
And I thought this, and I believe I am right too. I believe committing crimes and filming yourself doing so will be one of the top crazes on social media unless somebody really gets a hold of it. If somebody really puts out some legislation to stop it, because that's basically what they're doing. They think they can get away with causing crimes or different things. And they do. For a while anyway.
As far as blatantly filming themselves committing crimes for a few likes and followers. This is where we meet a particularly stupid man named Wolfie Coletti.
Are you recording? Am I recording what? Who's gonna get a cake? Los tacos of the egg roll. Hey.
The funny thing is this, is that a lot of people think that, you know, you can do pranks, and then when you get in front of a judge, because you will, you can tell the judge, I was just joking, I was just kidding. No, they've written stuff in the law that doesn't make that little, what you would call it, a loophole work. There's something called blatant disregard, and it varies depending on the tort or the law that is broken. Blatant disregard means there's no way you should have been doing that and endangering those people. Angela Reddick in the house. That's blatant disregard. Like, that's basically what it is. If you have no disregard for someone else's safety, sanctity, peace, property, the same thing. And a good example is this: if somebody put acid on your car and, you know, blew up the whatever it costs to repaint a car, that's crime. There's a crime for that. And you can't say just kidding. You would have to say because the blatant disregard context would blow that. You should have known better. That's what blatant disregard means. You should have known better. Here we go.
This is a man whose entire internet presence revolves around being a public nuisance and harassing strangers.
Exactly. Miss Alto, welcome. Here we go. Here we go, y'all. Here we go.
Fortunately, this type of content creator isn't even a new thing. We've seen these kind of people pop up plenty of times before.
Absolutely.
original person to really gain online infamy doing this kind of stuff was Boonk Gang.
Boom gang, a whole lot of motherfucking gang shit, you know what I'm saying? I hit a million followers. They ain't doing it like me. Woo! Woo! Woo!
There was also that British guy named Mizzy that got popular for walking into random people's homes and going to gas stations and destroying things.
James, come to the front door right now, please.
James. You man, come.
This is very interesting.
Hello, James. We need to speak to James. James.
And there's plenty of streamers
Oh
like
yeah,
Johnny
he's one. Here we go. Somali, what a dude. What did he call himself? Johnny Somali or something like that.
Somali that do this exact kind of stuff just while being live. Now we have the newest scumbag to add to the roster of terrible creators willing to do anything for views. Wolf
And it's what's funny is they're all in jail.
Coletti. His real name is Charles Smith, and he's a 27-year-old man that posted videos on Instagram and TikTok harassing people in public.
No. You guys are locked in there. Forever.
This kind of content has allowed him to rack up almost 400,000 followers on Instagram, and on TikTok he was able to garner over 320,000 followers before his account was banned.
Before banned in the USA. Okay, so basically this is the thing. Initially, it pays off for these men, and that's why they keep doing it. Men, and I assume some women do it, right? Somewhere, I don't know. It just seems to be a man thing so far. But at the end of the day, winter is coming.
Sadly, it seems like there's an ever-growing audience for this kind of content, and this is proven by the sheer
As
amount
long as it's narcissism, sociopaths, and mentally deranged people, there will be a market for this kind of stuff.
of numbers some of Wolfie's videos would do. I'm honestly willing to bet most of this following is just comprised of literal children and edgy teenagers and not actual functioning adults. Let's be honest, anyone with a developed brain sees this kind of content and thinks it sucks. The first post on Wolfie's Instagram has garnered over 27 million views at this point. This video shows Wolfie walking into a fast food restaurant and throwing some person's food on the ground.
Let them have
I mean, he's basically getting paid. I mean, not getting paid. Boy, he is getting paid. He's basically doing these pranks to look like a bish nugget, if you know what I mean. A bish, I can't say the word, but you know what I mean. I mean, because right, he's running away. Why he's seeking knowledge in the house? Let's get seeing you why he's seeking knowledge. Running away. Look at him.
Of course, at the end of that video, when he's going to be confronted, he runs away like a coward as well.
Exactly. That's my point, is like, you do know this is looking bad as far as, and that's the problem, is a lot of, and it's a problem, a lot of men, they have no pride or no, what am I looking for? No self-esteem or something, that they don't say to themselves, you know something, I'm looking like a doing this. I'm looking like a doing this.
This is something Wolfie will do every single time he finds himself in trouble after one of his stunts. Like in another video that currently has 26.9 million views, where Wolfie throws a cake off a balcony at strangers in the mall.
Okay.
Of course, does worse things than throwing cakes at people. He also likes to spray random strangers with fire extinguishers. Where he gets these extinguishers, I have no clue, but multiple people just trying to go about their day have been hosed down by Wolfie.
Oh my god.
Hello. How are you? The word safe doesn't exist when Wolfie's around.
Behind a horrible residue that stains. Not to mention, even though most extinguishers are considered non-toxic, inhaling the powder can cause irritation to your respiratory system, causing coughing and breathing difficulties. Now, I imagine going to the laundromat and having to wait a couple of hours for your clothes to wash and dry is already a pretty dreadful task. That old guy is now going to have to restart his entire wash cycle, and his clothes are potentially ruined all because of Wolfie's stupid video. Not even his followers thought this was funny, with some of the top comments on this video reading, "This one is not funny, bro, you're losing it." That's honestly fucked up. Most people at the laundromat already broke, they don't need this. But Wolfie really doesn't care about any of this. In his eyes, people are just props to help him boost his numbers on social media. And I really think this idea is highlighted by the way Wolfie treats fast food employees. Wolfie has a hyperfixation with putting random foods and items inside fast food restaurant fryers. Here's just a quick compilation.
Why Seeking Knowledge says, when you don't know what manhood truly is, you resort to such buck brokenry. I love it. Yeah. Let's go down and see what happened to him at the end, because you know what? Okay, so this is what happened. Okay, here we go.
Wolfie did the smart thing and turned himself in, posted by others outraged by his actions.
There it is. So
it's likely the only reason Wolfie went back to dispose of the food is because of the immense backlash he faced from posting the original video. He even tried to delete both of the videos. About 15 minutes later, he posted another video back inside the Walmart, bug and flea killer spray. He then proceeded to spray tons of produce throughout the store and even sprayed a few rotisserie chickens on his way out.
this means that this man has no soul whatsoever. None. None. Darnell says, fire extinguishers have very dangerous chemicals that shouldn't be inhaled. Bars. So remember now, if he had any talent, he would be displaying his talent. He wouldn't be harassing people. He wouldn't be spraying food. He wouldn't be putting other people's lives in danger. He would be expressing his talent. He would be a comedian or a singer or something. He has no talent, and that's why he does it. And obviously no self-esteem.
In typical Wolfie fashion, after effectively poisoning a bunch of food at the Walmart, he walked out without a care in the world. And it's assumed he received a ton of backlash for this absolutely stupid and reckless prank. Because about 15 minutes...
Notice how his behavior is getting worse and worse every time.
Later, he posted another video back inside the Walmart claiming to throw out all the food he sprayed.
So it's like, that's like $100, maybe $1,000 worth of food he just sprayed. So we all know that he didn't pay for that food.
It's likely the only reason Wolfie went back to dispose of the food is because of the immense backlash he faced from posting the original video. He even tried to delete both of the videos and act like it never happened, but it had already been downloaded and reposted by others outraged by his actions. Wolfie claims nobody bought any of the poison products, but I highly doubt that. 15 minutes inside Walmart of all places is plenty of time for someone to walk through the produce section and grab something. Up until this point, Wolfie had gotten away with all of the petty crimes he filmed for his social media platforms. However, this time he commit a pretty serious felony. Thankfully, the police would identify him as Charles White from Arizona and a warrant would be issued for his arrest. After a couple days, Wolfie did the smart thing and turned himself in.
In an MCSO orange jumpsuit, Charles Smith, who goes by...
And I bet, you know what I bet? You know what I bet? I bet he's saying, wow, the man's trying to hold me down. You know what I mean? You know, he said, oh, the man's trying, these laws are not fair.
Wolfie Coletti on social media, was in court for the second time in just a few days. Already arrested in Mesa over the weekend, where police say he took this can of bug and flea killer off the shelf at a Walmart and sprayed the pesticide on produce that was on sale for anyone to buy.
He has been charged with a felony for adding poison or other harmful substance to water, food, drink, or medicine. He has also been charged with additional misdemeanors for criminal damage, endangerment, and theft. With all of these charges, Wolfie is currently facing potentially over 30 years in prison for this quote-unquote prank if he's found guilty. What started out as public nuisance content quickly devolved into a pretty egregious crime, and I honestly hope Wolfie gets a guilty verdict when his case inevitably goes to trial. I say this.
Expect to see more of this. Expect to see a lot more. A lot more Wolfies are out there on the internet.
Because you absolutely have to make an example out of people doing this kind of stuff so it doesn't happen again. In an interview with police, Wolfie claimed he made between $6,000 and $10,000 a month making these prank videos on social media. That is an insane monthly paycheck for doing the things he was doing. And if you don't charge Wolfie for his crimes, what is going to stop him from just going back to doing this all over again once he's released?
Exactly. And not only that, what is going to make other people from not joining in to this fun? You really think that the United States or anywhere place for that matter is that super moral? Probably not. Probably not. Let's go on to one of my former idols, I guess you'd say. Remember when I was telling you guys, and I went on actually, what's his name's live stream, and we were in a discussion about how I was saying how the hip hop culture, not the music, the culture was destroying our community, and people argued tooth and nail with me about that. And what was funny is that this was recent, and in the midst of, R. Kelly and Diddy and Chris Brown and what's the dude who shot the Megan in the foot? And it was odd. It was creepy odd to me. Sharon, that was his name. Sharon, or it was a female name. It was a dude with a female name, Sharon or something like that. And they fought me tooth and nail about how hip hop was not destroying our community. But then we go back to all the way back to the originators of hip hop, and this is what we have.
Hey, yo, it's your guy, Seti Nash, and this one right here, this one probably is going to shake hip-hop to a score. One of the founding fathers of the game, African Bambaataa, just lost a civil case for child sex abuse and trafficking. And you know what's worse? He didn't even show up to court.
Afrika Bambaataa, if you don't know, I surely do. He is one of the originators of hip-hop. He came out a long time ago with his first tune that I knew about that really was a hit was Planet Rock. And you could play the instrumental, and the instrumental was popping. That's all it did all the way through. And then the beat. It was the jam. If you did not have Planet Rock at the party as a DJ, there was something wrong with you. That's how popular it is. A lot of jams, were made with that beat. Still to this day.
Yep, you heard it. Let's get into the nastiest story the culture's been trying to bury. Before we break it down, let me remind you who we're talking about. African Bambaataa. Real name, Lance Taylor, one of the architects of hip-hop. Bronx legend, the man who brought us the Zulu Nation. Peace, love, unity, and having fun. That was their slogan. He gave us Planet Rock, changed the game with the electro beats. Helped lay the foundation for the culture. But behind the music, behind the fame, allegedly, some dark been lurking for decades. So here's the lawsuit details, all right? In 2021, an anonymous man, we'll call him John Doe, files a civil suit in New York. He say, from time to time, he was 12 years old, Bambaataa abused him.
Watch out with them civil suits. Them civil suits can blow up. They can blow up.
Repeatedly. Not just abuse, though. He claims Bambaataa trafficked him to other grown men, said it went down between 1991 and 1995, 4 whole years. You think it's just talk? The man gave details where it happened, how it happened, the emotional manipulation, and what did Bambaataa do? Nothing. No court appearance, no response. That's how you know this might be real. Because silence in court is a guilty verdict in civil law. So don't worry about pleading the fifth and all that crap as far as criminal go. But in civil law, yeah, bruh, you're kind of done for. So what happens when you get sued for something this serious and don't show up? The judge, Alexander Tisch, hits you with a default judgment. That means legally, you just lost. Court said, we heard enough. You didn't defend yourself. You're guilty. Now they move into the damages. Financial punishment on the way. Let that sink in. One of the most respected names in hip-hop history just got hit with a judgment for child sexual abuse. And no one's saying nothing. Nobody. So we can get this up to 4K likes. Force this into the algorithms because something got to be said, man.
There we go. Africa Bambaataa. They was pimping back then. Let me drop the link just in case somebody wants to jump on for a minute, maybe say a couple things because, this is every time. And don't get me wrong. I find this very, very disappointing first, but I got to call it out. I was an African Bambaataa fan. Stopped as soon as I found this stuff out. Found it out. I mean, I just found out, but he messed around and he found out too. He got away with it for a long time though. Man.
And this ain't new, y'all. In 2016, Ronald Savage came out and said Bambaataa molested him back in the 1980s. Savage was a part of Zulu Nation too. Said Bambaataa was running a whole entire ring, using his fame to lure in young boys. But after some time, Savage walked back his claims in 2024. Said he used a fake ID. Said it was consensual. But let's be real. How's it consensual if you're 15? Now.
Right. 15 is 15.
I will say, if that's true, bruh, we got to question Hassan Campbell as well. I'm just being fair. We have to question, buddy. Because if the dude who said that said, you know what, I was 15, I had a fake ID, I don't know, bruh. Something get a little odd. And with multiple men coming forward, the hip-hop community mostly stayed silent. Why? Because Bambaataa, because he's a legend. Or because folks don't want to believe people that they admire can be monsters. Let's talk facts.
Straight up. Straight up. I mean, what? It's almost like every hip hop icon is a monster. And it's really bad for business. It's bad for our, see, and the saddest part about it is that it's bad for our culture because our culture is tied in this business. When people think of hip hop culture, they think of African American culture. This is a bad look, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I can say. Let's keep this going because I got a lot to go. Now, I want to give you the classic, the man is trying to put his boot on my neck narrative right now.
It's women out there that do their homework. They know everything about y'all because you tell on yourself on the gram and on social. So they know how to go get you.
This whole drama with Shannon Sharpe is turning into a wild storm, and now Deion...
Let me remind you. They're making a 19-year-old OnlyFans model sound like a mastermind, individual. He's damn near my age. He's nearly 60, acting like a child fooled him. That's his defense. That's what he's laying, his sword on, or whatever it is. That is embarrassing. Instead of saying what he should have said is, look, it's on me. This is what he should have said. Sharpe should have said he was in a degenerate mode and he just paid $50 million fee for being stupid. That's what he should say. No, it's really $100 million fee with a possibility of 50 more million, which I think it'll get dropped to more like 15. Can't make this shit up.
Deion Sanders just jumped in with a raised eyebrow, saying something don't smell right.
You see what happened? That had been going on for years. They let it build up. Shannon Sharpe, y'all know he was about to sign $1 million contract.
No, $100 million contract. And he should have known better, Mr. Deal. The deal is, anyway, the deal is if Shannon Sharpe was behaving like a grown man, he would never be in this situation in the first place. I just want to make it a slow roll. He would never be in this situation in the first place. Will he be treated differently by the law? Maybe so. Will he be mistreated by the law? Maybe so. Should he have never have gotten into this shit in the first place? Absolutely. That is the key to the problem. That is the key to the problem. Welcome, Darnell. And there's nothing you can say. The thing is this, ladies and gentlemen, right? Really more so the gentleman, because we have a bigger problem with this. If you want to F around, you may just find out. Darnell, what do you think?
Well, to be honest with you, DJ, I agree with you to an extent that this man Shannon Sharpe is dumb. Like I said, you're gonna, to let this 19-year-old, what was he expecting? He definitely must have had a guy complex, like, ain't nothing gonna happen to me, I could just drop her, anytime, you know. It just kind of reminds me of what Amber Heard said on tape. Well, who's gonna believe you, Johnny? Me, a woman, or you, a big strong man? And it's the same thing. Who's gonna believe Shannon here?
Right.
Especially when you're dealing with a 19-year-old white girl. All she got to do is cry. It's over. It's over for you. But I will say this: there's just too many. There's too many things out of that. Even on her side, like for example, after the alleged grape. How do you talk about? I want you to put your big black baby inside me and all this other stuff after the fact. They didn't say you don't like being choked, but you ask him to choke you via text message.
Right. Let's put it this way. I agree that she definitely complicated things.
Yeah.
The problem is my thing is this. What is he doing? The problem that he's going to have is just with not what she said or didn't say. The problem people are going to have is, dude, 19-year-old little girl. I mean, that's literally a little girl. Okay.
Yep.
You're 54, 55, 56, something like that.
Yeah.
It already looks bad. People are already, cutting their eyes. And then you're expecting everyone to accept, your BDSM with this little girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. That's a lot of work. I do not think he's going to prison. I do not think he's going to jail. I do not think any of that. But what I do think he did is ruin his career over some stupid crap.
Yeah. Oh yeah. ESPN's not going to touch him, and you are correct that he's because you got to remember this is civil, not criminal. She never filed a criminal complaint.
Right.
So with no victim, there's no crime.
Well, we saw with Cassie, it can definitely go there. If he has anything else, if he has any more skeletons in the closet, that's going to be a big problem.
Yes, but in the whole Cassie and Diddy case, the problem was, Diddy was running an empire, a criminal enterprise, I should say.
Right.
So there was a lot more going on than just, Diddy, doing what he did to Cassie. There was a whole lot more.
To a lot of people. That's the problem.
Exactly. Even blowing up a man's car, trying to chase him and trying to unalive him.
That's so crazy. And we know he did it. Let's just face it. We know he did it. At first, like when people are saying, "Oh yeah, Jamie Foxx, he got poisoned by Diddy," I said, even back then, I was like, nah. But now I'm like, maybe so. Kim Porter kind of like left out this way. She was healthy as an ox. Okay. Yeah. So, man. So anyway, that's the point. The main point I want to make, and the lesson that needs to be learned is that, the best lesson I can give to black men in general is like, if you want to take a risk, little risk, big risk, that's on you. If somebody is waving $100 million check, and you still want to do BDSM with a 19-year-old girl, be my guest. See how long that check gets waved for. And I think they would have done that if he was a white dude too. I really do. So, I think it's that egregious. You know what I mean? Remember, ESPN is hiring role models as well. They're hiring people they want to be. They know role models make money. Don't think that I'm thinking that they have like morals or anything, but they know the role model mystique, makes money. Like, we're here to, bring up the communities and all this kind of stuff, even though they're just trying to make money. But you see my point. You see my point.
Yeah, I see your point, but I do disagree with one thing. I don't think that the whole role model thing, or at least the what they're trying to do is really working. Like the Snow White film that released earlier this year, it was a bomb. That thing was a turd.
Really? I thought it did okay.
Check the box. Yeah, check the box office numbers. I mean,
the thing is this. That's weird to me. We'll pop into movies just for a second here, but
Okay.
because I thought that Wicked did so well, Wicked did well for what I thought it was. Right? It did so well. I thought Snow White was a shoo-in. To be honest with you, it's Snow White.
The problem is that they changed a lot. It's not the same Snow White that came out in 1937. Okay. It's way different. There is no Prince Charming. Snow White is. I don't think this was a big issue for me, but Snow White is was played by a Hispanic woman. That's not real. I don't think that was a big problem. The problem is or Disney, I should say, is going the whole woke route, and it is destroying Disney's bottom line. A lot of things are bombing that they're producing is bombing in the box office. Like Rachel Ziegler, for example, she it sounded like she was kind of a diva. Really, her and Gal Gadot.
Darnell, you do know that Hispanics can be Caucasian.
Yes.
Okay. So
that's why I said I don't think that was a big issue. I don't think it was an issue at all.
But we can even go back as what was that show? I love something Lucy. Remember, wasn't she playing a Hispanic woman?
No, Lucy was white. Her husband, Desi Arnaz, was Hispanic.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, and at that time they caught flack too. Later on, at first it was a popular show, but it died off during after the Cuban Revolution.
Okay.
But that's just a little history note for you. It was all because her husband, Lucille Ball, her husband was a Cuban. Was a Cuban here in America, and after Castro took power, the show started to tank. The ratings started to tank. They accused Lucille Ball of being a communist, part of the Red Scare.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah,
okay,
but in
out to Act Natural Under Pressure. Act Natural Under Pressure in the house. Why Seeking Knowledge in the house. Miss Alto in the house.
But in the case of the Snow White, I really think it was Rachel Ziegler. From what I heard, she was really a diva, difficult to work with. Her and Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot played Wonder Woman, but in the film she played the queen, I think, the evil queen or whatever. Anyway, they were button heads like you wouldn't believe on that film.
I'm sorry to cut you short. Let's move forward. We'll talk about movies later. Maybe we'll do a movie one. But here's another. Here we go.
You are giving me $10 million.
Let's go. Who's gonna give you $10 million?
Wait. First of all, can you guys hear it? Okay. Does it come? Is the volume okay on that?
Oh yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, the player. Yeah. Okay. Let me make sure it's up. Okay. Here we go.
Jayceon motherfucker Taylor,
also known as
The Game.
Let's go.
Is giving me $10 million.
Lawbreeze and Gentlegrams, the gavel grazed the gravel, and the game got tossed like a paddle. Loss of a lawsuit landed the lyricist laundering $7.1 million to a lady from his game show. An absolute flamethrower making his bank low, and we might possibly watch the game go straight broke. So let's unpack this deranged show, see why the game lost his great home, and I'll make known all the facts of the game giving away his play dough. Get it? The game, play, dough. Alright, enough.
Basically, the bottom line is this. Let me break it down for you. He effed around, found out, and winter arrived. Winter arrived. And it arrived by taking his house, by taking other property. Winter arrived. Winter is here. Tomas, good seeing you. Winter is here. Dang, Darnell, what you doing in the background?
No, sorry about that. There's other people in the background. My bad. I'm gonna go on mute.
You make that's one hell of a sandwich. You got all the utensils going on. No, but basically, this is crazy to me. I mean, this is not really. So basically, it's like this. What happened is this. It's a similar situation as Shannon, where he effed around and finding out. See, black men are finding out the hard way that we can't mess with women these days and get away with it all, like back in the olden days or whatever. And I don't get it, because basically, and I think this is why a lot of men, Darnell, have a bitterness for black women, is because a lot of black women, due to being pure, complete victims of black men's abuse, many black men have gone to jail for it or prison. You DV, assault, whatever you want to call it, it sends them up. And the law, the laws are like, believe it or not, the law is pretty lenient. Like, if you remember the dude who jumped at the judge jumper, that's what I call him.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, he had been doing that to a lot of women for a long time. And they were like, oh, he's mentally, unstable. Well, it doesn't mean he gets to beat people up still.
Yeah.
So he went to jail. Now he's in jail for like a long time. Like, and really, quite honestly, it might be the best place for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he is mentally, unstable, then obviously what's been working what they've been doing hasn't been working. Until they work it out, just keep them in there. Because the problem is that the issue we have, Darnell, is that we have, the black man has been treated unfairly, which is a strong argument. But at the same time, why do we fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
Mm-hmm.
And two, why do we give these people reason to treat us more unfairly than we should? But the bottom line is this: if you hit somebody, everybody knows if you hit somebody, that's assault, right? So if that's assault and black men are hitting black women by mathematically, not by overall numbers in the United States, but by percentage more than anybody else, why would you think you're not going to jail?
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? A right cross is a right cross. All we need to do is stop doing that. So anyway, let me go on here. Here we go.
For the rhymes, but drop a like and subscribe. Now, Lobbies and Gentlegrams, this is an interesting case, man. Have you guys been keeping up with the game over the last few years? I might have to do a whole separate video on all the game shenanigans, because there's been a laundry list of them, really since the beginning of his career, but they keep getting amplified. Each year the game gets older. I mean, if you guys remember last year, he wasn't invited to the Pop-Out event, right? The biggest West Coast hip-hop event in ages. For a West Coast icon to not be invited to an event like that speaks volumes to the actions game has presented over the last few years and how they have landed him in not the best of graces by LA's most legendary faces.
Too much 50 Cent, not enough West Coast crowds. 50 Cent. JC! I said JC! You old ass. You old ass. I will
When have you ever heard an Eminem song in the club? I don't hear Eminem in the streets. I'm just a better rapper.
Then, of course, he went on a 17-minute rant on Instagram Live to justify why he wasn't invited or wasn't at the pop-out. You guys want to see a little clip of that? All right, maybe I'll throw it in here. Or maybe I won't.
And I've been in this motherfucker since 2003, right? Because that's when I got signed to Aftermath, 2003. If you ask anybody, anybody that really know me that's in this motherfucker industry, and go ask Dr. Dre, man. Like, sit Dr. Dre down and really ask that about who I am and my character, and you know, like what he really.
As you can see, that's just a quick. Well, let's get to what happened. Okay.
Show the game was on was before he was the game. He was known as JT. They probably should have called him SB instead for Sad Boy because boy is this sad.
I want to be with my girl all day, every day.
I can't be with him 24/7. I'm sorry.
Sadida couldn't keep a promise if her life depended on it.
So what?
I can't get no loving in public.
No affection.
No holding
Because it
hands,
seems
no
like you
kiss,
always
no...
gotta.
But now let's take it to 2015, where the game has a little bit more confidence, maybe too much confidence, and he's no longer fighting his woman to be a better girlfriend. Instead, women are fighting each other to be his girlfriend. And one of these women, one of the contestants on his game show, went by the name Priscilla Rainey. Now, remember this name because the game was about to make it rainy all over her bank account very shortly. Priscilla Rainey has a reign over the game's assets. Now, it's funny how she was depicted on the show to begin with, right? She would go on later to say that this entire thing was scripted. She had even been in a relationship that was on pause, a 7-year relationship, when she went on this show to pretend to fight over the game's love. But it's ironic how things turned out because on this show, she was depicted by the game and by the other contestants as the quote-unquote fire starter.
What about you, fire starter? You good?
I'm good. No fire started today. So it sounds to me like they're trying to trash me in front of Jayceon to make me look like a fire starter. You know what? Let's go.
As with any reality TV show, of course, there's a bunch of useless pent-up drama, and the game is right in the middle of it, trying to figure out which one of these lovely actresses will he decide to make his fake girlfriend by the time the TV show ends. He didn't end up going with Priscilla, but you could see that out of all the contestants, she was definitely one of the more drama-filled characters, to say the least.
It seems like the whole mess, the fight, is Priscilla's fault. And that ain't really sick.
Now, here's my argument is, how is he even capable of being an eligible person to even be in a relationship with? I mean, that's the problem. And I'm saying not only him, but his type. There's just nothing about him that women should be interested in if you're a woman who wants a relationship. What do you think you're going to get? I mean, a couple lefts, cross rights. Yeah, so basically, yeah, he pulled a Shannon Sharp or worse.
Mm-hmm. You know, I got to be honest with you, DJ. Like when it comes to it kind of reminds me of Chris Brown. I had no idea this was going on with the game. You know, he's been out. Well, no pun intended, but he's been out of the game for so long. But the thing is, like, I remember Chris Brown. You know, after the whole Rihanna thing, you know, and it's like women were still lining up. Matter of fact, some of them even supported Chris Brown, called Rihanna all kinds of names, and that was coming from women,
right?
You know, then, you know, when the next woman accuses him of assault and all this other stuff, I'm like, I got no sympathy for you.
Yeah.
You knew he bit and attacked a woman, and you knew this. What makes you think? I mean, we all saw the photos. We all saw.
Yeah.
You know, the bite marks, the bruises.
I mean, it's funny. It's like, yeah, you nailed it. Back to the game real quick. That's just funny to me that these men are out here willing to lose their wealth for, you know, their behavior. That's the weird thing. And it's common. It is very common. Men are out here willing to lose whatever they have, whether it's millions or just thousands or whatever, to do degenerates. And it's like, wow. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, we can say, oh yeah, other races do that, but they got a longer lifeline than we do, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, and it keeps going. Here we go with legendary singer, Just In Case. Man, he lived a hard life. Man, I thought he was going to be the next Teddy Pendergrass, but maybe straight. I don't know. But
Wait, you said
right.
Teddy P. You said Teddy P was not. You said but straight. Teddy P wasn't straight.
Well, there was. This was back in the day. Let me go back. This was back in the day. There was this rumor about Teddy P, and I think it was Luther, and maybe even what's his name? One more guy, being caught up in some love, which is fine by me, because let me tell you, everybody knew Luther was gay, but they still loved him. He if there was a person whose career was not derailed by coming out, it was Luther Vandross. Nobody cared. Women still wanted him, and men too, I guess. Hazel Bug in the house. So anyway, back back to just in case Jaheim. Man, he had such a career that he could have had, but I guess drugs and whatever else. He has now been arrested for beating up dogs, treating dogs horribly, not feeding them. I think a couple of them died. A couple of them had to be put down. You see where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're saying, well, they're just dogs and stuff. No, these people these days, they be taking them dogs quite seriously now. I mean, you know what I mean? And I think what it is that is this somebody else? Oh, J Mike, my bad, man. Okay, J Mike's on here too. Okay, so anyway, no, because they think that if you're going to treat a dog that bad, a dog that it obeys you, what are you going to do to human beings? I think that's another caveat.
The same thing. And when I was looking at the game part, do you know how old I was when the game came on the scene, or how young I was in that case? I was 11. I was 12 when This Was How We Do came out. And I was so happy to see a light skinned rapper that looked like me, but I got fucked up. Yeah, that fucked me up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was 18 when that came out.
Do some dumb shit. So.
Now you ain't lying.
We fucked up people.
You know what? You know what's worse though is the ones that be snitching on themselves and then wondering why they in jail.
Yeah.
Literally, put it in the damn song.
Yeah, that happens a lot. People what it is that people say and do things that they know it's outrageous. They know that it's wrong, but they don't think they're going to be. They don't think for a minute they're going to be punished for it. That's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, when you put details of the crime that nobody else knows except the person that did it in your song, and the police know what happened, they just don't know who.
Right.
They're like, well, how did you know? You know what I'm saying? Right. So we know you were there.
Exactly. Let's go on to Talvin, not Tevin, Talvin Osborne.
My old manager used to call me that, but I used to hate it because the correct way to say my name is on the sheet, and I used to tell it's Tevin, not Telvin. I was so glad she left that store I was working it, but that was almost 2 years ago.
Well, see, at least I get it right, Shoot.
The lady was Caucasian, but it's a lot more Caucasian people that got my name right.
Right. So anyway, this man here once said he'd rather sleep with a dog, which he probably did, than a black woman. And how ironic is this? Winter is here for him. She shot him in the chest, I think once or twice, and then said it was an accident. And they said, okay. I mean, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's ironic. She's out. She shot him right in the chest. Winter's here. But let's dig in deeper here. I mean, the thing is that basically he's not dead because he chose to be with a Caucasian woman. He's dead because he chose to be with the wrong Caucasian woman. And the problem this is what I find. Men that are evil, and he's evil for what he said about black women. They don't think that he wasn't evil to this woman, and she probably just thought that, hey, let me use my shade to get it out of this situation. I think she did. That's my assumption. I think he was probably evil to her too. I mean, he doesn't look like this nice in this picture.
Well, it does.
But all she had to say was, "Hey, he was beating me or he was assaulting me, and it was self-defense." She didn't even say that. Right. She just said, "Oh, I was cleaning. I can't remember. I was cleaning the gun, and it went off."
Went off, right?
Like, come on, bro.
Right.
I mean, let me. I own a firearm. Let me. Clean my gun and shoot a white person. Am I gonna get off?
So the only way you can shoot somebody is you actually turn it on and shoot them intentionally.
Right. I mean, how did he get in front of you if you're cleaning your gun?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Always bring up, during that 2012 to 2014 stretch on Twitter, everybody was talking crazy on social media, so you shouldn't hold people to those words. Because everybody was talking crazy. Men and women, it was meant to be fun, it was chaos, it was World War III, nobody was being serious, yada, yada, yada. But he said some of those things and he clearly was serious. So we'll get to it right here.
Yeah, that was crazy. So,
So singer Brian McKnight is not done talking sideways about his biological children, the same children he basically has publicly disowned.
That's sad because Nico just
So lastly
died
this week, I want to big up my man right here. See, he gets it. In order to live a life that you love, you have to get rid of the evil and the negativity, even if that evil and negativity is related.
Let me pause right there for 1 second. These are his children he's talking about.
And one of them just died from colon cancer at 32. I'm 32 right now. And I deal with things like heart failure, high blood pressure, stuff like that.
But here's the weird part, though. Isn't it his fault? Think about who's the common denominator out of all of his three kids? If they are evil, how did all three of them become evil? Exactly.
I don't think they is because people told me I ain't seen nothing but positive things about Nico.
No, the problem is that, and you made a strong argument, number one, but number two, if they were evil if they were indeed evil, it's his fault.
But I don't think the kids was evil because he had the two first sons with his first wife. He cheated on her with a side chick, got the side chick pregnant, and left. And I guess didn't claim the daughter or what afterwards, and got with this new wife, which is a preference. And he pretending that he loved them. He pretending that he loved them, but you go watch and see what go happen.
Yeah. So I mean, my thing is this: is kind of a checkmate. If they were indeed evil, it's his fault because he's the father. Okay, don't get me wrong. I mean, there are times that, a kid just turns out bad, but not all three of them. You trained them to be that way.
Yeah, that's just bad parenting.
Yeah.
Of all three.
I mean, that's as far as you can. I mean, that's just how it is. And then you can tell that he has some type of narcissistic, what should I call it? Vibe to him. I guarantee you, sooner or later, we're going to start hearing some things about his new family. Like they're going to be saying, "Duh, this nigga crazy," or something like that. You'll see it soon enough, as soon as the benefits start to minimize.
Everyone to live a life that you love. Our hashtag, that's what it means. Hashtag I love our life. But in order to do that, you have to get rid of all that evil and negativity. There's so many
that you made. You made all three of those kids. You're calling them evil and negativity, but whilst being evil and negative online.
And you know, Torch,
he didn't have to say this at all.
Miserable, because Brian, because of all the fucked up shit Brian did, to how fucked up Brian is, and it affected Nico. He probably could have lived longer with colon cancer, but with all this shit going on, it probably that what caused his death to end faster.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Why Seekanana says, I've given up on Brian McKnight. The fact that he has thrown his brown kids under the bus is just pure evil bars.
And I heard Nico had a girlfriend and children.
Dang.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Nice kids gotta grow up without their father. Well,
First tonight at 10, a father is behind bars, accused of shooting his 3 sons. Amazingly, they all survived. It happened along Sunlit Coral.
How do you do that? How do you? I can't even play the rest of that. I just can't.
Man, we talk about these videos all the time, but those red pill guys never talk about these videos.
Okay. I got a big story for you guys right now. I got a big story for you. I'm about this. Let me put it on the screen for me. Okay, let me stop it right there. Let me ask you this. How many women can you marry legally in the United States?
1.
Okay. So how many can you marry in the UK?
I believe 1, but I don't know UK law.
What if I told you there was a man that had a lot of wives? I think it was like 10. And he was juggling them for a long time, went to jail, and then started doing it again.
Was he Mormon?
I don't know what he was. I think we should find out. I think we need to find out. Here we go.
This very tall, very attractive man came over and very warmly gave me a kiss on the cheek. He swept me off my feet. He was very, very intense. I was totally in love with him, and so I trusted him. There was something going on in the background.
Danger's everywhere, honey.
He had
here we go.
Systematically brainwashed me. He was asking us for money.
I don't have anything to give.
I was under his control. I'm terrified. Living, breathing fear.
This is going to be a very interesting thing right here. Here we go. Fast forward back. So,
unbeknownst to me, they keep the profiles on the system. So it was about 6 months later that I actually got the email from Will Jordan. He told me all about the fact that he was American and he came from New Jersey. He works as an IT consultant in the UK. He seems just perfect.
I share your view in personal responsibility. I might as well say at the outset that I'm seeking a long-term relationship, so a quick fun seeker would not find me desirable.
He's...
Remember that show, Catfish?
Seems so genuine and so relaxed. We were emailing 5-6 times a day, and it's very exciting.
He appealed to her senses, so he would say that he liked the same things as she did. He seemed to sort of tick all of the boxes for her. He seemed too good to be true.
So he seemed like the perfect guy. Like as usual, a lot of narcissists start off like that, where they are very, very, very nice. It's the honeymoon phase,
She did feel that she'd met her soulmate. She was probably not expecting to meet somebody, certainly not somebody who seems as perfect as Will Jordan.
Right from the start, Will tells her about his personal life.
He told me that he was infertile because of a bout of mumps when he was a child.
So if growing your family naturally is on your cards, then I suppose I am not the best choice of partners. Though I do want children very much and I get on very well with them.
I gave him my number about 2 weeks into talking to him on email, and he promised he was going to call within the hour. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and no call came. And as the hour...
See, it even happens to, per se, their preferences, or if you want to call it that. What it is that basically these types of men have the same, how should I put it, characteristics. They're not dependable. Not being dependable should be a red flag.
Hours went by, I started to worry that something had happened. And I was really very concerned for him. 2 days later, I got an email from him saying that he'd been called away to Spain. I was very angry and very upset.
Welcome, Deontay. Good seeing you. Deontay, I made some changes to my system. I hope it works. Uh-oh, did he fall off? Oh, he fell off. Wait. No, he's still, okay. Everybody here. Okay, here we go.
Is not impressed, but Will's so apologetic and so persuasive that she ends up agreeing to meet him.
We organised to have lunch at a central location in Edinburgh. This very tall, very attractive man, very tall, dark and handsome, as they say, came over and very warmly gave me a kiss on the cheek. And I was instantly attracted to him, put his hand on my small of my back, and off we went to the restaurant. We're ordering pizza. I order a pepperoni pizza, and he goes, "That's my favorite too." Whilst we're
That is weird. That's creepy. That's what a lot of manipulators do.
eating, I'm just looking at each other, thinking, how did we manage to have such a strong connection over the written word? I felt
it can be
totally
emulated.
at ease. The more I found out about him, the more I liked him, admired him, and thought this was actually quite a special guy. We're walking back to his office, and as we were at the car park, he kisses me. It was a very passionate kiss. Quite often when you have a first kiss, it's a little bit tentative, but his wasn't at all.
She phoned me up, and
It's weird, like she still has feelings for him or something. That's the weird thing.
it was just bubbling over. She was just so happy she'd met this amazing chap who couldn't have children, so was delighted that she already had a daughter.
This is going to get interesting.
He sent me a dozen roses to my work.
I mean, he said he can't have, remember that he said that he can't have kids.
It is very exciting. We just seemed to be totally in sync. In the first months of knowing Will, I was very happy. I was falling in love with him. This was somebody quite remarkable. We made love. He was very, very intense, very focused. He swept me off my feet.
Early in their relationship, Mary invited Will Jordan to meet the family.
I'd really like for you to meet my parents. I think it's that time in our relationship. Really?
This was an important moment. She wanted her family to meet this person that she's been talking about all this time.
Fast forward.
Really angry. I was going, this is just not good enough, and I'm not going to put up with this.
London.
As it got closer and closer to the time, I'm getting more and more stressed out. And I text him and I say, are you ready? And I text back saying, yes, I'm on my way. I'm in the car now. I'm stuck in traffic. And then text back, where are you now? We're going to be late for the plane. Nothing. Where are you?
He promised to fly her somewhere, and let's just put it this way, he flat just didn't.
Nothing. So that's when I opened a bottle of wine, and I had a couple of glasses of wine when I realized it just wasn't happening. I am absolutely crushed. I sat there thinking, that's it, it's enough. I've been let down too badly. That's it, game over.
That would have been perfect. But guess what?
Didn't hear from him again until the morning. I don't think I've even said anything to him. Went into the kitchen and just leaned against the cooker with my arms crossed and my legs crossed, waiting for some sort of explanation. I was angry. I was really, really angry. Yeah. I was going, this is just not good enough, and I'm not going to put up with this. And I'm finishing the relationship. And he says, well, I'm really disappointed we're not going to London, because I had a very specific reason to do so. And he said, I wanted to give you this. And he handed me a fluffy teddy with a ribbon around its neck. I had to uncross my arms to take the bear, and realized that on the collar of the bear, on the ribbon, is a ring.
Oh man, he's got all the tricks, folks. He's got a wedding ring on there.
And it's on a teddy bear. I wonder, is it an old wedding ring?
Yep.
His proposal came right out of left field, and I was completely taken aback.
Mary is thrown off guard. The ring's a huge surprise.
A lot of men use the promise of marriage to get out of trouble. I just want to let everybody know that.
Yeah, they do, but it don't need to work like that, because you fuck up, you going to prison, jail, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's nothing compared to the terrifying secret her boyfriend is about to reveal. Just 4 weeks into their relationship, Will Jordan proposes to Mary Thompson. She agrees to think about it.
I had only known the man for a month or two, and there was no way I would marry somebody I had only known for that short space of time.
He says that he loves her, he wants to be with her for the rest of her life. So she forgives him. I mean, everybody wants to be married.
He persuaded me to wear the...
Oh, dear. That is part one of this. Part two is coming up. I can only play so much for each live stream, but this is going to be very big deal. You're going to see, this is going to be one of those stories you guys are going to be like, oh. Anyway, guess what? Here we go.
Instagram.
Wait, you know something? Let me play this first.
It said yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Okay.
You know, we're doing a bunch of research, a bunch of projections of the future, likely outcomes. I've been doing
Welcome, Tiffany. Tiffany Jackson in the house.
them on ChatGPT. Y'all know the last video that y'all watched came from a discussion on ChatGPT. So, I saw a video from a bandit come across my Instagram feed, and I asked ChatGPT the same question. The question that I asked ChatGPT, because this bandit, he asked a question about if the devil wanted to destroy men. Y'all know that men are under the delusion that somebody other than themselves are doing something to them, although no one is. What men are going through is self-inflicted. No one is doing anything.
That's the point I've been trying to make too. It's like, just like with Shannon Sharpe saying that he's, it was the industry or something that's caused his woes, and we've heard all that kind of crap before, or even with Diddy, or even with R. Kelly, but they've completely forgot their own actions, that their own actions could have anything to do with it. Like, I don't know, when you mess around and find out with, much younger women, and in a way that can be misconstrued as a crime, you get into trouble. All a black man has to do is just do the straight and narrow. Why do we always have to test people? Here we go.
To men, except men. And this is one of the things we went over on ChatGPT. I asked the same question that the bandit asked. If the devil wanted to destroy men, what would be the most effective way to do it? I'm not going to go over the male version. I'm going to go over the women. I'm going to go over women, because women need to understand what this changing tide is about. And a lot of women just don't, because a lot of women have a certain set of beliefs, and those beliefs were socialized beliefs. Those beliefs were handed to them. It's not like they went out and sought, like most women didn't go out and find the information that they have in a natural way. It was given to them by men, either men in a church, men in their home, men in some type of capacity, because men have been the authors of women's nature.
So basically what she's saying is that basically men have made this matrix. So if men are making the matrix and women are following in this matrix, then women are initially going by what men want them to think. Tiffany Jackson says, Cynthia broke this all the way down in the latest live. It was top-notch analysis. Bars.
Women don't even know what their own nature is, because men keep feeding it to them. So I'm
True.
going to share the screen, because I asked a pertinent question, because to me, in my opinion, men don't really matter much to society or nature. Now, anybody who wants to disagree with that, you can disagree if you want to, but to me, men are not really important to the natural structure, life creation. They're just really not that important to humanity. They're not. Again, if you believe that they are, that is your personal belief. I am not here to convince you to not see men as important. If you see them as important, I'm just telling you my opinion. I don't feel like men are that important. I think the only thing that men have is their physical abilities, and they use them to exploit others. That's literally all they have. They're not riding along on extreme intellect. They are operating from violence and domination, because that's all that they really have.
What do you guys think?
I gotta be honest. Like I said, I've never been a Cynthia G fan. I've never liked her rhetoric, and even that rhetoric just now, I think it's ludicrous. And I'm going to pull a Bill Clinton Sister Soldier moment here. But if this was a Manosphere guy, reverse the words around a little bit, and women aren't important, this and that, everyone would have an issue with it. And I feel the same way about Cynthia G here. I don't think she's a good role model.
She's not, because you remember when she used to have Nyla and Taz in her lives, and Taz was has a criminal record. That was before Cynthia G cut off Nyla and Taz, and I heard so many bad things about Cynthia G since then. I side eye her too.
Wait, let's focus on the task at hand. What did she say that was wrong specifically?
I'll say when she said that men don't matter to society, aren't important in society. Again, if men were saying, if it was, say, Fresh and Fit, were saying women aren't, which they do say it, women aren't important and all this other stuff, again, everyone would be up in arms, about that. They're misogynist assholes and this and that. Well, at this case, to be fair, you got to call her a misandress.
Let's listen to a little bit more. Here we go.
They don't have anything else. And we're going to get into that because we asked ChatGPT a question about men as well. We asked a couple questions about men. And some of those we're going to go into. But what I want to go into first is, y'all see the question on the screen.
Here's my first question. Let's break it down for a community, not men in general. Let's say men in our community.
Mm-hmm.
If men in our community did not exist anymore, or were not in our community anymore, would the remaining people in that community be better off or not?
Would there be men from other communities in this scenario?
That's possible, yes. In that scenario, yes.
Okay. Well, if there are, then I would say that they're still going to live on, I suppose. But if let's just say that there are no men, then they'll die off just like we do.
Actually, Darnell, that's not entirely true anymore, and I'll tell you why. There are plenty of sperm banks.
Yeah, for now, but if you're going to need men to continue to produce more and more sperm. I mean, yes, there are plenty of sperm banks, but if you're using the material.
Okay. Do you believe we probably have enough sperm in sperm banks to last 20 years?
I don't know.
Okay. The reason why is because by that time, some of these women are going to have kids that are male, right? And those kids are going to grow up into men. So if they grow up into men, then nobody's dying out, right?
But again, you're talking about a scenario where no men. So I'm assuming that they would, if it's a male, they'll probably, I can't, the A word. I don't want to say it.
Okay, but you can see my point. Eventually, I do see that your point about saying that. Let's put it this way: women wouldn't die down for a long time. It would if let's say there was women and there were young little girls, right? You were talking about 70 years at least, right?
It
would die out.
Yeah, let's call it 80. Average lifespan is 80 years.
Okay. So that's 80 years. The question is, this is the point. This is where men are rendered unimportant. Okay, you've seen all the clips we've played of all these other men, Shannon Sharps, with the exception of the doctor who I started this with as a positive example. Shannon Sharps, the TikToker who sprayed food, sprayed poison all over food. Africa Bambatas, the game. I mean, Shaheen. Now, don't look at these as individuals, but look at these men as types of men. Okay, would you say they are closer to being the common male or one-offs?
I would say somewhere in between, but one-offs and common male. I do. While I don't believe that it's common, unfortunately, it is a growing trend. It is a growing trend of more and more younger males becoming degenerates. Let's take, for example, Jay Rello, for example. I mean, he's the first dude that started this crash out content, the e-begging phase. I mean, it's taken off, man. I mean, now everybody, now he's in competition, who can be the worst e-beggar.
Okay, so would you say that these men's behavior is beneficial to our reputation?
No, absolutely not. Definitely not beneficial. If anything, I think it hurts us. It hurts us a lot more because, again, one black man. Again, I'm a guy that travels overseas, for example. And like I said, if one black man does something stupid and I go there, then all eyes are going to be on me. I'm guilty through association. You know what I mean? And I don't like it, but that's just the way it works.
I mean, obviously, would you find that behavior to be important?
That
important in a positive way.
The misbehaving.
Yes.
Important? No.
Yes.
No. No. If anything, that's stupid.
Okay, so that's the point Cynthia G is making. I believe she was making is that men are unimportant because of the fact of the matter is that in many ways we make ourselves unimportant. Because would you agree that women usually want to get married?
Yes and no.
Okay, explain.
I think, and I'm kind of learning this. Oh man, there's this guy, something Erickson. I forget his name, but anyway, I think people, in this case, women, since we're talking about women, but it does include men, but I'm just going to stick with the women since we're talking about women here. But during every age, women go through different phases. Okay. And there's going to be a phase where women are not looking for marriage. And then there is a phase where women do look for marriage.
Are you sure it's a phase? Or are you saying that some women are looking for marriage and some women are not looking for marriage?
No, I think all women are looking for marriage at a certain point in time. But again, it happens in a phase.
Aren't they trying to get married before, married to have children, right?
No, I don't believe that because due to all the children being born out of wedlock.
No, but wouldn't those women, why are those women being born out of wedlock?
I think because of irresponsible men and women.
Okay, what percentage would you say of those are irresponsible men that cause women to have kids out of wedlock?
I don't know the numbers, but again, since it takes two to do the tango.
But it takes two, but it only takes the leader to make sure that somebody either doesn't get pregnant or if they get pregnant, they're married, correct?
No, that's responsibility falls on both parties.
So you believe that even though a man is supposed to lead, is a man supposed to lead?
Absolutely.
Then why is it 50-50 when it comes to something about pregnancy?
Because both are adults, right? So
then
when
both-
it comes
then
to
both should lead, then, right?
well, technically, I think 40% of households, I believe, are led by
Darnell,
women.
don't
So
you realize it's teenagers that are having children with grown men too, and a lot of grown men have children with teenagers on purpose, and they don't be in relationships with them at all. A few of them might do, but most of them they're just using those teenage girls for
Right.
sex.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That does happen.
So when it comes to older men having, like for example, let's take Shannon Sharpe as a perfect example, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got a young kid in front of him that he doesn't want to have a child with, right? Okay, but all he's doing is having sex with this woman, this kid.
Mm-hmm.
So, and worst of all, look at all these other men are if men are leaders, right? Where does the leadership start?
Can you elaborate?
Yeah, I mean, think about it like this. You're saying men should be the leaders, right? If men are leaders, isn't responsibility, I mean, being responsible part of leadership?
I think responsibility falls on anyone that refers to themselves as an adult. Again, if you are an adult.
Okay, but no, you're kind of, okay. But if you're the leader, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be even more responsible, right?
Yes. Okay. You have a greater responsibility. Yes.
Okay. So then there's a little conflict because if men are supposed to be the leaders and men are supposed to be have a higher level of responsibility, then there would not be any single mothers if by design we were doing what we were supposed to be doing. And that, to me, this is not Cynthia G speaking, but because basically she's saying that men are useless, but we do render ourselves useless. The idea of a man, the idea of what a man is supposed to be like, that's not useless. A man's supposed to be the protector. I believe men are supposed to protect women. I believe men should provide for women they want to protect, and especially if that woman is giving you children. Okay. So that's the useful stuff for women, is the protection and provision that these red pill dudes keep talking about, but never provide, which then renders them useless. Except if you want to start a war or you want to drive by. If you see what I'm saying.
Yes. I understand your point. About, in the manosphere, okay, they talk about being leaders. They want the privilege, but they don't want the responsibility. Is that what you're getting at?
Exact. You nailed it. Yes.
Yeah. I agree.
We want but so if we are, then how far is Cynthia G's statements, like her or not, if she's saying that men are useless when we do things that render us useless? Because
again, you're talking a certain amount of men.
Like, well, it's a large amount of men, unfortunately, because think about it. Women, it's happiness, it's family, it's children, it's love, right? And sex too. But the bottom line is this: you can't drive a car with two flat tires. You could for a little while, but for the most part, you can't.
Uh-huh.
It renders the vehicle useless. And in this situation, if men are not willing to be loyal, loving, supportive, non-abusive men, they're useless. We are literally useless to women unless they just want to have sex.
Well, the only problem with that logic is, okay, let's say, I don't know, your furnace goes out, you know. When you call somebody, who shows up? Is it a man or a woman?
When you what?
You know, when your furnace or your AC go out.
I'm not a good example because a woman showed up last time I was here.
Okay. And it does happen. It does happen. But I could promise you this. You're only going to, maybe 1 out of 10 are probably going to be women. And I know this because when it comes to the trade schools,
okay,
I believe only 10% of women, 10 to 20% of women go to trade schools, and usually a majority of them
okay,
don't make it through.
This is going to be an interesting retort. I actually watched this cool sniper movie. I can't remember it. It's one of those things that they review movies and tell you whether that's real for real, you know. And I was watching this real sniper tell me, and I was like, wow, that's, you know, he said some of the best snipers, he said several of the best. He didn't say just a few are women. He says,
and when was this made?
He says, for some reason, women make exceptional snipers. And so
and when was this made?
This was like, what? I only saw, it must have been like within a year. Let's put it within a year.
Okay.
It's recent. And I can understand your point. What you're saying is that men do the grunt work and all that kind of stuff. And they're useful for that. But for the remember, Cynthia G is talking about relationships in general. Now I've seen.
But she said her exact words were useless to society.
Right.
You know, again, I think having, especially where I live, where you live, I think having an AC is very important. You know, and
Did
when
you say
9 out of,
it sounds like what you're saying is that women can't be AC technicians.
Oh, AC.
No, they can. It's just a lot of times women don't choose those careers. They don't choose those paths. They don't like that those careers. Again,
okay, so you're saying that the fact that a male plumber comes out makes men in society useful?
Absolutely. I mean, again, unless, you know, I mean, how important, I mean, when you can't flush a toilet, you know, and your feces and urine start backing up in your house. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, I'm just saying, you know, if that's not, you know, important, then, you know, I don't know what is. Okay. I mean.
Okay, let's keep going. Here we go. Here we go.
Screen that I asked. Let me make this a little bit. Well, it don't need to be a little bit bigger. It's already bigger. Y'all see what I asked. If the devil wanted to destroy women, what will be the most effective way? Okay. Will says, stop hating on us Geminis. They're the difference between May and June ones. Okay, well, listen, I can, sure, well, fine. We can say they're the difference between May and June ones. That's fine. Anyway, let's get into this because this is going to go down like somewhat of a rabbit hole. So we asked if the devil wanted to destroy women, what would be the most effective way? This is a religious question based on God and the devil. Y'all know I'm not religious. Even though I grew up as a Christian, I still would not consider myself a Christian at all. Nor am I religious. Does that mean I don't believe in the concept of God? No, it does not. But as you see here, it says if the devil wanted to destroy women, he wouldn't come with horns and flames. He'd come with praise, promises, and illusions. Okay, I think we all know we have a certain perspective of what the devil is. The devil was sold to us by men as well.
Praise, promises, and illusions. This is very important because if you remember that video I played of Will Jordan, he came with praise, promises, and illusions.
Now that DJ, I'll be honest, that's where I do agree with Cynthia G. The devil does get you. He doesn't get you with the horns and the lake of fire and all, the threats. He can't.
Right.
It has to be free will. So of course he's going to come in, with the praise, just like you and her said. So that part I do agree with Cynthia G on. Matter of fact, there's a music video. I think the song is called "Pow Pow," and you'll see a graphic reference of exactly what she's talking about.
Got it. Why seeking knowledge says this. And black men wonder why other male groups hate and despise them. Partially, they are jealous because black men get to have pogo stick peens and no accountability. Meanwhile, they are holding theirs down. Tiffany goes, yes. Why is seeking knowledge? You nailed it. Very true.
And when we have sex with
let me finish.
They
are always ready to reach for that big piece of chicken, though. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Tevin. What were we saying?
And you do know when black men smacks all the races of women, the men of their communities are more likely to disown them.
That is true.
And I see that happen too often. And it's vice versa for black women too, but black women shouldn't care about that because it's like we think it's like we telling them they ain't shit. And a lot of us are treating them that way. But some black women do they the same way, but I guess what we're getting now is not. It's for not us not holding black women's back when they held ours back then.
Yeah, Hazelbug says
when they fought with us in the civil rights movement.
Hazelbug says in reference to Darnell's argument of the use of men. He's wrong. Men lock women out of those jobs. And there is some accuracy to that. Let's say if because think about it. I mean, they just threw out that the DEI thing, right?
Yes.
And that benefited.
Yeah, but that's why Target is suffering.
They got shit.
I hope Target
that stuff quick.
Oh, my bad.
So Hazel has a strong argument. I'm not gonna, that is a strong argument because think about it like this. Black men have been held out of jobs. So women, especially black women, are going to be held out of jobs.
And Darnell, we started working before women did. Like, they were working back then too, but
actually, women started
getting better jobs in the 70s.
Wait, Tevin. Especially black women have been working ever since
slavery.
They got here. Okay. Black women have been working ever since they got here. That's just the way it's been. Now, it's a little bit different for Caucasian women because Caucasian women, their culture is the man goes out and the woman stays at home. That's how it all started.
That was their culture, not anymore.
Not anymore, no.
But I just want to say this. But during World War II, when all the men went out to fight, at first it was white women and black men were in the factories. You got to remember they didn't want black men killing Germans, right. Or I'm sorry, unaliving Germans. They didn't want blacks unaliving whites. But when it got to the point, hey, man, we need more men, they pulled the black men out of the factories, hired more and more white women, but they discriminated. And here's where I'll agree with you. They did discriminate against black women. They were not very few and far between black women were getting those jobs in the factories during World War II.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Sorry to interrupt you, Darnell, but you bring up a good point. If this discrimination did not exist, would you think there would be more women who were plumbers in computer science? Because believe it or not, surprisingly enough, there's not a whole lot of computer techie women. Now they might manage techs, but they are not techs. So don't you think that if that it's a hard argument to make?
And
Because
Tiffany said black women were maids, cooks, seamstresses, all that after slavery, and
Yes.
they watched out the Caucasian families' children too.
Yeah, but when it came to, like I said, during World War II, the factory jobs, again, when all the men had to go fight, black women were excluded from those jobs, unfortunately.
So believe it or not, I would even go as far to say is that if there's a race of women that can do hard labor like men, not because they act like men, but just because of our legacy, it's going to be black women.
Well, but again, the problem is I don't think women enjoy those types of roles.
Right.
Now, as far as the computer, I'll agree with you.
They can still do it though.
Well, I mean,
In the house.
You know, again, it's one of those things we'll just have to see it if they can or can or can't.
Right. And what I'm
but
saying is this: the most beautiful women can do some of the most manly things if they want to.
I work retail.
Wait, Tevin, let me speak.
Okay.
A beautiful woman can be a fighter pilot. A beautiful woman can be a bomber pilot. A beautiful woman can be a sniper. You see where I'm going from? Going with? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a lot of it helps. Technology helps because things have gotten lighter and smaller, so that you don't have to be a big dude with big guns to handle some of this stuff. If you know what I mean. Even my sister, she said she's carried a couple 50 cals in her day. You see what I'm saying? So, that I guess what I'm saying is that we want women to be beautiful and fragile and all that, but if they have to be, they have to be. If they have to get down and hard, they can get down and hard. And I think the biggest problems that we have as black men in our community is that we run behind a lot of black women. We do. We run behind them for protection and provision. If you think about it, look at what Jeezy said. Look at what what's his name who said the light bill dude.
You're talking about what Tyler Perry?
Yes.
The light bill?
Yeah.
Well, Tyler Perry's a billionaire.
Yeah, but still, but he's still on there as a billionaire, which makes it even worse, in my opinion, trying to convince black women to just have a man live in her house and just pay the light bill, right? Am I wrong or am I right?
I think he was talking about, hey, if all the man can do, I think his word, I can't remember his exact words. I think it was, if all he could do is pay the light bill, then,
yeah, you see what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? He wasn't saying get kicked. He wasn't saying if all he can do is pay the light bill, kick his ass out. He wasn't saying that, was he?
No.
Okay, that's all. Right.
I think what his point was because like ever since the 70s, I'll be honest with you, ever since the 70s, it's been harder and harder to have one income households. It's becoming more and more rare, and you got to remember, and we're dealing with it now. Back in the 70s, you had inflation. In other words, prices were rising faster than wages of what people were getting paid.
But then why if that's the case, and let's say women acquiesced to a light bulb-ish play the light build bulbish lifestyle, then the men really can't claim to be leaders. What are they leading? She obviously knows how to pay the bills. She obviously has a better job.
Well, like I said earlier, 40% of households are ran by women today in this country. So there are more and more female leaders.
So basically, then that would render, for a woman who wants a traditional man, that would render that man useless, right?
No.
And
why not?
And Darnell, I don't be looking at them single mom stats because I know many women who stay with their child's father. They're not married. They don't count those. They count those as single mothers, but they're not.
I'm sorry. Say that one more time, Kevin. I apologize.
You know, in the Black community, we have a lot of baby mama, baby daddies that be staying together for decades, sometimes decades.
Mm-hmm.
And they consider those single moms because they're not married. They don't use that stat, and there's a lot of those in the Black community.
I think. Go ahead.
Cause my stepfather, I don't call him my stepfather because he did more for me than my real father. His oldest daughter had 5 children with her last baby father.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wait, sorry to stop you guys. I got to move forward in this video. Here we go.
So, he'd come with promises and illusion. He'd make destruction look like empowerment. Isolation feel like freedom. And suffering feel like self-expression. It said, here is the most effective blueprint to destroy women step by step and brutally honest. Are y'all ready to go into it? Because if we go into this, then women are going to have to look at themselves. So in order to go into this and learn something, as women, you need to be open to the fact that some of this stuff you're doing on your own accord. Nobody is making you do it. Even though it's detrimental to you and you know it, you still do it, and you do it because you've been conditioned to, basically. You're doing exactly what you were programmed to do. So let's get into this. Number 1, convince women that their power comes from being wanted, not being whole. This is number 1. And I need y'all to pay attention because this is where your destruction lies. This is what would need to happen in order for you to be destroyed. Your value is in your beauty, your sex appeal, your desirability, not your mind, spirit, or sovereignty. Make women obsess over appearance from childhood. Tell them youth at their peak, that aging is decay, that sex appeal was currency. Train them to compete for male validation and call it empowerment.
Shout out to Eden Adele in the house. You guys want to try to pick that apart? I'm gonna listen.
To be honest with you, I agree with a lot of what she's saying there, especially when it sounded like she was talking about the A word, accountability. You know, when they say, hey, you know, women, you know, you're putting yourselves in this, and I do agree with that. You know, I do agree. Now, I will say this is that it sounds to me like she doesn't believe in her own message for obvious reasons, but you know, as far as that part goes, you know, she's right. And I will say this, when it comes to the devil, but the devil he comes against us all too. You know, again, for women, there's going to be a man that can sweet talk you, in your ear. Matter of fact, there's this guy I know. He had a saying. He said both people lie, both men and women lie. Women lie with makeup, men lie with words. You know, so I do agree with that portion. What was the last part of that? What was she saying? The last part of that?
Let me rewind a little bit. Okay.
This is number 1, and I need y'all to pay attention because this is where your destruction lies. This is what would need to happen in order for you to be destroyed. Your value is in your beauty, your sex appeal, your desirability, not your mind, spirit, or sovereignty. Make women obsess over appearance from childhood. Tell them youth at their peak, that aging is decay, that sex appeal was currency. Train them to compete for male validation and call it empowerment.
Okay, now I remember. So now that last portion, here's where I do disagree with her, or not necessarily a disagreement. What she's saying is true, is that girls are taught from a young age, you know, about beauty standards and this and that, and to be attractive for men, you know, and to compete, you know, the magazines, this and that, train women or young girls to be, you know, compete for men. Right. The only thing now, here's the thing is, unfortunately, that's just how society, you know, works. Unfortunately, men are very visual creatures.
Okay, so basically, your reply is you understand where she's coming from, because truly, women should be raised to have high self-esteem, not to chase after men. The problem is that you're saying that that's just the way society is built. But if that's the way that society is built, and women are supposed to grow up to be BMWs or black male in our community, black male worshippers, well, then how can you blame a woman? How can you tell a black woman to choose better when as long as she chooses a black man, that's supposed to be correct?
Well, you have to remember, I don't believe that she has to choose a black man. That's not one of my beliefs. Okay. I do understand that with a lot of black men, they do frown upon black. There used to be a term, I don't like describing black women, but they call them black bed, with a W, started with a W.
Don't you think it's kind of weird though, that basically, I understand your point of view, but by default, usually black women are going to marry a black man by percentage, right?
Yes, I believe the number is 99 out of 10.
Yeah, want to get married anyway. But I don't think see, my point is that we just don't have the volume. We don't have the numbers of eligible men. And what I mean by eligible is not just somebody who says they're single, but I mean somebody who's mentally capable of marriage. It's bad enough for the black woman that they outnumber us, and then on top of that, well, you've seen the red pill culture. It sounds like to me they're really not trying to settle down either. So,
well, the red pill culture definitely has a lot of flaws. I even got Donovan Sharp to admit that, when it comes to the leaders of the red pill, that yes, they got a lot of skeletons in their closet, and a lot of them are not practicing what they preach. And that is a serious problem, with the red pill. And it seems like the red pill refuses to acknowledge or take accountability. You always, it's the Matrix. They're trying to destroy us. I mean, even a certain religious demographic is trying to destroy them. It's ridiculous. Versus, okay, you know what? I screwed up. I made a mistake. That none of them ever say that. But getting back to what Cynthia G, was talking about. Here's the thing: is like, as a woman, unfortunately, majority of women want the same exact thing, right? They want a guy that's at least 6 feet tall. They want a guy 6 figures, and above. Well, the problem is just about every woman wants that. And there's only a handful of guys that are that. I mean, we're talking 1% to 2%. Okay, so obviously, you have to compete to get what you want.
Right. But let me break that down even deeper. You do bring up a point, but that the issue is that the men are we are taking advantage of that of us being rare. We're almost rare because remember, there's a large portion of us that are not accessible at all.
Mhm.
Then the problem is that when you start breaking down, when we start to whittle down flaws in certain men, then all of a sudden they have nobody to choose from if they only want a black man. Would you agree?
If they only, yeah, they don't have a lot to choose. That's correct. But so maybe if that's the case, you either you lower your standards, which women don't want to do. A lot of them.
Isn't that wise? Isn't what you just said right there stating what you want a woman to choose better, right?
It depends on how you define choosing better. Okay, so if you got a guy he's an honest guy, hard worker, but he makes the average salary of a black man, say $60,000, and he ain't gonna cheat. I mean, but he only makes 60,000. You're gonna have to go half and half to make it. Again, I'm not gonna say a woman has to choose that guy, but if you're really looking for loyalty, and this guy is going to give you the loyalty that you want, are you going to really turn him down because he only makes $60,000? And now I think that's what the point Tyler Perry was trying to make.
Andrew Bug says, Darnell, black women don't say that. Black men say. Shout out to Indiana, mom in the house. Let's play a little bit more. Here we go.
Again, this is the blueprint for your destruction, women. Train them to compete for male validation and call it empowerment. We have a proud pick-me movement going on.
We sure do.
Mm-hmm.
Even as a male, you have to notice there's a pick-me movement that's hardcore.
I want y'all to understand this. We have a proud pick-me movement right now. Many women, they prioritize male validation. I want y'all to understand why make them search for male validation is one of.
Do you want to know the biggest vehicle for male validation? One of the biggest vehicles, which the biggest promoter of male validation. What would you say it is?
I apologize. I don't understand the question.
For what promotes male validation from women more than anything else?
Victoria's Secret? I'm guessing.
Okay. It's hip hop. Think about it. There are women that have lowered their standards as far as the quality of a man due to the hip hop community. And
Darnell, don't you think that certain women
does too?
Certain got with certain men because the men they were way above their level too.
Repeat your question, Tevin.
Yeah, wait, hold on one second, Tevin. Think about it. What industry teaches women to settle for bandits?
All of them. I can't just say hip hop by itself because it's a lot of them.
But it's one of the main ones because remember, everybody wanted Tupac, right? But he was still, as much as I loved his music, he was still selling what? Thug Life.
Yeah.
There
you are. But he did a lot more than just Thug Life, he did a whole lot, I think. But I do remember, I don't disagree with you. Yeah, I mean, he did kind of show that, and even in lyrics like Wu-Tang Clan. Well, I think it was. I know it's Wu-Tang. Well, they were part of Wu-Tang Clan, but I don't think Wu-Tang Clan did the whole. I think it was. I can't remember. It was Redman or Method Man. They sang that song. You're all I need to get by.
Right. Yeah, that was I think it was Method Man.
I think so too.
It was Method Man.
You know, and I mean, the whole song is about him being, you know, as you would describe it, a bandit, and having a woman that was always down for him,
right,
holding it down for him. That was a whole song.
So the problem
And
is
Darnell,
that,
don't you realize some other races of men be the same way as these bandits? And don't
no, wait,
call those guys out
wait,
too?
no. They might be that way, Tevin. I'm sorry to interrupt, but they might be that way. There might be men that behave that way. I agree, but Caucasian women and other races of women are told to stay the hell away from them, and a lot of them do. Okay, so yes, there are bad boys in every race of men, but the problem is we promote these dudes. Look, I mean, think about it. I just played a clip with. Okay,
Look at our government. Our government is degenerate Republicans.
Okay. Africa Bambaataa.
They're the worst too. They're worse.
Right.
They do way
Africa
worse than this
Bambaataa.
too.
Africa Bambaataa, bandit. TikToker I played, bandit. Shannon turned out to be a bandit. Game, bandit. Jaheim, bandit. But they're all heralded. These guys were or are role models in our community. So it's funny that I hear a dude say, "Oh, you should have known better and or you choose better." But then these are the men that we even choose to respect. So we are literally hypocrites because we are telling women to choose better,
And
but then
Tanya
we're telling
said
women to choose
black
thugs.
exploitation films also played a part in this.
Yes.
Yes, they did. But like when it comes to, you know, certain characters like Pam Grier was the actress, but when she played Foxy Brown, I mean, Foxy Brown, while sexualized, yes, but Foxy Brown was a very strong character. You know,
Right.
for those of us that saw the movie Foxy
But
Brown.
think about it, Darnell. She was a strong character, but she still settled for some bandits. You see what I'm saying?
No,
And
in that film, her boyfriend is unalived in the film, and she goes and gets revenge.
Yeah, well, that too. But what was he doing? What was well, there's Foxy Brown, the one. What was the one? She also played Foxy Brown. I guess it was more recent. The one where it had De Niro in it. And
No, that you're thinking Jackie Brown.
Oh, Jackie Brown. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, in that one she was single in that one. But in Foxy Brown, the one back in the 70s, her brother was the bandit. Her boyfriend was a cop that was unalived, and that's what caused her to go out and, you know, seek revenge. You know.
Okay, so shout out to Henry Mars and Cyber Dreams in the house. Let me play a little bit more Sinji, and then we're gonna move
Darnell,
forward.
I heard some bad things about Richard Pryor too that he was doing while he was dating Pam Grier. People was talking about from way back in the day, around the time she was on Foxy Brown.
I didn't know that. I didn't even know they were dating.
We wasn't alive then, but Torch was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eden Adele says they don't want women to choose better. They want women that they want to choose them, that want to choose them. Anytime, every time, time after time. Time after time. Damn, I sound good. Anyway, okay, you guys can only agree once. Only agree with my singing once. Let me go. Here we go.
The things that will need to be done to destroy you. Result: a generation of women who can't recognize their power unless it's reflected in a man's eye.
You know what? She's describing without telling us who they are, but she's describing basically all of the red pill women who want women to settle
and
for
I'm
less.
glad and there are a lot of red pill women. They cake for the men, but they don't like to call out the men because they want the women to look bad.
Right.
But you gotta hold the men accountable too. And the red pill men, Kevin Samuels was one of the worst ones.
Well, I mean, to be
I'll
honest
say
with
it
you,
again. The result of this would be a generation of women who can't recognize their power unless it's reflected in a man's eyes. Number 2, divide women from each other. Notice.
This is a big one right here. Go ahead, Darnell.
I was just going to say to Tevin's point, but the only thing that like Melanie King is one of those women. It's got proven, that a lot of them are grifters, and in Melanie King's case, she got proven she was a liar and a grifter when Kevin Samuels passed away.
We know that. A lot of those guys was grifting too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, it got proven she was a grifter when one of her own fans called in and said, "Well, why weren't you at the funeral and this and that?" And she was just dumbfounded. Because I think she was the one. I think she was the one that broke the news that Kevin Samuels had passed, and we were close friends, and all this other stuff. Come to find out, she barely knew the man.
Yeah, Henry Mars says.
Now that
the
was
video
hilarious.
of Stefan Diggs, Dusty of the Week. Yeah, Stefan Diggs is I think he's a bi Dusty now. I think he's bi, but I mean, I don't care. It's the Dusty part that bothers me. A dude can be whatever.
But here's the thing: who is enabling him to be as dusty as he is? It's the women that are choosing to lay up with his ass.
Well, the men.
Isn't that who's Cardi B supposed to be dating right now?
Well, no. I mean, the thing is with this, Darnell, aren't men supposed to check him?
No,
but they always refuse.
He's a grown man.
No, aren't men just like these? How people are telling women to check women if they're doing something wrong. Why is it that men are not checking him? I mean, he's got more influence. Men are going to influence him more than women are because he likes men. He just uses women because he has, just like many other men, he does not want to be found out, so he has sex with a lot of women.
I don't think that's the case, because even NFL players even said, I mean, they said, who would you not would you not want your wife around? And they all said Stefan Diggs. So I don't think again, I have to look into it, but I don't think he's
just as dusty as Stefan Diggs.
I have to agree with that statement. If you're gonna, you lie with dogs, you're gonna catch fleas, and at this point, you know who he is. Again, going back to when I used Chris Brown, all the women that followed Rihanna, and they want to take pictures with him. They paying this man $1,000 to take a picture with him.
Now that is a good point. I mean, for some, and he's a straight up 100% bandit. I mean, he beats up both men and women. Now, So
that it didn't say to destroy you, they needed to divide you from men. It said to destroy you, you need to be divided from other women. That's where your destruction lies, not in other men, in other women. Other women are your competition, not your tribe. Turn sisterhood into backstabbing. Pit mothers against child-free women. Career women against homemakers. Light skin against dark skin. This is
ours.
Number 2 on the blueprint to destroy women. Feed the culture of mean girls, pretty clicks, fake friendships. Result: isolated women who trust no one, compete with everyone, and suffer in silence. 3, detach women from their intuition. Religion is not intuition. It doesn't make logical. If it doesn't make logical sense to a man, it's not real. Are we going to act like women don't look at what men say as if it's gospel? Because they do. Black women are queens of it. Black women, literally the only thing a black man must do for a black woman to believe it is say something.
Oh man, I'm just laughing because when I was playing that video, even though his targets were Caucasian women, the Will Jordan video, all he had to do was say something. He was saying these outlandish things, these things that any logical person would be like, "What the heck?" But all he had to do was say something, and they wanted to believe what he was saying. So I just found out that dude's straight up hilarious.
That's it. Gaslight their instincts. You're being dramatic. You're imagining things. You're too sensitive. Train them to override gut feelings for politeness or approval. So make them suppress their intuition. Normalize disrespect as love and confusion as chemistry. Result: women who abandon themselves to avoid abandonment by others.
Any thoughts, fellas?
I have to be honest with you. The stream kind of, I don't know if it was you or on my end, but the stream had cut out on me, so I missed a lot of it.
Oh man, did that happen to you guys in the chat? How about you, Tev?
No.
Then it must be my connection then.
Okay.
I apologize.
Ladies are welcome on this panel, by the way. I'm going to drop the link again. Your input is very welcome. So let me just drop that in there. Oh man, it's dropped Darnell again. Okay. Maybe he has a bad connection.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, who dropped out? Oh, Tev did. Okay. Okay. So that's all I'm going to play from her, from Senji. But I don't know I don't see any lies anywhere. ChatGPT or Senji. I mean, don't we want women to be more selective? I mean, don't we want women to choose better? If so, then all of this should be welcome. Men should be welcoming this conversation with Senji. They should be saying, yeah, we need somebody to tell these women to choose better. And she's been telling women to choose better for a long time. The only problem is that, most of the men that get offended aren't a part of the choose better crew. They're not. They're not a better choice.
Well, I got to be honest with you. When it comes to Cynthia G, one, I don't think she likes to take her own medicine. She doesn't like the taste of her own medicine. And two, I mean, I think I would have a better time talking to a tree, and than talking to Cynthia G.
Well, you have a right to your opinion, but me myself, yeah. I think she drops bars. And believe it or not, you have admitted sometimes that she is talking correct as well. So
absolutely.
This is a good question. Would you rather have a conversation with Kevin Samuels or rather have a conversation with Cynthia G? One or the other. That's it.
That's a tough one. I never really did agree with Kevin Samuels either. I'd have to flip. I'm looking for a coin to flip. Yeah. Let's see here. I just flipped a coin. It is Cynthia G.
Okay. The coin calls it.
The coin spoken.
Bro, listen. We out here what kind of content? You're not gonna tell me what to do.
You can't come up on me.
Bro, listen.
If you come up on me, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out.
That's what I say.
You gonna
That's
do
what I say. That's what I say. That's what I say. No,
bro, shit. I said I'm a bitch. You gonna misgender me now? Now it's fucking anti-Asian because I'm Asian. So now you harassing me. I am protected by anti-Asian hate crime. Go down the road.
So basically, I assume this dude was bothering people and trolling people, and Gene Deal and that woman were not liking it. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
Act Natural Under Pressure says. Oh man, Act Natural Under Pressure says, Darnell, listen to you.
I gotta see it. I gotta see this scene. You is painful. Hey, you know, you know what? I agree with her, and she's not alone. A lot of people say that, so she's in good company.
Yeah,
I sound worse than Joe Biden on the campaign trail last year.
Henry Mars says Cynthia G makes more sense than many of these besties. I think so too. Okay, so,
I mean, they all make sense. I mean, whether it's Cynthia G or whomever. I mean, hell, even Fresh and Fit, even Kevin Samuels, every single one of them will have a valid point somewhere. You know,
they'll have a point. I don't know if it will be valid.
I mean, I would say so. Just like tonight, I acknowledge, even though and I've made it crystal clear, I'm not a Cynthia G fan, never was. Even I acknowledge that she has some valid points.
Right. Okay. Now I see where. Okay.
I'm back with another triggering topic.
Your trigger is in the house.
Now let's talk today about the lies men tell about child support, about single mothers, and about missing fathers. But first, let me show y'all this clip, and I'll be right back.
Kids, especially men these days, got women ways. They was raised by their mama, and their mama got child support, and they kept the daddy away from them, but they didn't see how daddy had to work hard to pay that child support. You know what I'm saying? They didn't see how daddy had to work hard to pay that, to get that money and pay that child support, so they don't even appreciate the money. It's just another check they get every month. So while they think they helping that child by getting that money for them, they really weakening that child by showing them that things supposed to just come to them. Just because you're supposed to get this free every month. You get whatever you want for free every month. That's just like that. That's where.
Now remember, now these dudes are the average pay of child support is $300 a month, which I would, if like I needed some children babysat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would gladly pay $300 a month. I'd gladly pay $300 a week if I had some children that needed to be babysat. And this dude is complaining about that. Now, here's how bad it gets. A babysitter costs $100 a night. And what I'm saying is that not that this man is complaining because he has to pay a small portion, a tiny portion, by the way, of what it takes to raise a child. That just shows to me that's a bad look for black men. Now, I'll tell you why. Because number one, it shows you how cheap we are. Number two, it shows you that we don't care about our own kids, because you would think that we would gladly pay, $300 a day if we could. This is ultimate banditry right here.
I would say in his case, if you don't want to pay that child support, then don't wrap it up, or don't, or abstain from sex. One of the two.
Thank you. Wrap it up. But he didn't do that, and a lot of men don't do that. In fact, a lot of men don't do it on purpose. And that's the one thing I did want to bring up, is the fact of the matter is that a lot back in the day, Darnell, they used to say that men, we used to go, you just trying to trap me. You just trying to trap me, when we were talking about women, right?
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's the other way around, because a man can always just skate. He can always just not be there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there might be some financial or even some penal concerns about it, but at the end of the day, he can just leave.
Yeah.
A woman that's not going to happen. I mean, theoretically it could happen, but it happens so little. It's like small 10%, whatever, if that a woman's going to leave their own child. They would have, usually the child will have to be taken from her, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So really, when you think about it, a lot of these men are out here spreading their juice around because they do want to trap women. Then they get access to the woman in whatever way they can get access to, whether it's money, whether it's a place to stay like Angry Man did, whether it's sex. He has access to her because that's the way they think. That's why a lot of these ex-boyfriends be deleting their ex-girlfriends, because they're saying, hey, wait a minute, you're my property. These men really think if you have my baby, then you're my property. That's how these men think. And they get mad if their property, just like slave owners did, these men would get mad if their property wanted to leave, just like a slave owner. I just wanted to say that. Here we go.
He's raising a weak man. You know what I'm saying? That's raising a weak man, because when it's time to do the shit that men's supposed to do, they're not gonna know how to do it, because all their life they had kids, especially men these days, was just wait on that chick. So when it comes to getting active and working hard, they don't even know the first step into doing that shit, because all they saw mama do was just sit down and get that chick. It was just collecting that check. It was that easy. You know what I'm saying? So let motherfuckers just have everything they want all the time. Like you raising a weak man, real life, like keeping it real. And he a lot of the times turn feminine. A feminine man is what you're raising.
Wait, and this is funny coming from Young Thug, who I don't believe had. Hold on one second. Okay, was that Young Thug? I don't think that's Young. Was that Slim Thug? Hold on, I got the wrong Thug. Oh, wait, no, that's... Why are they showing Young Thug? Rapper Slim Thug speaks out after... No. Okay, you can kind of see it. Slim Thug speaks out following the arrest of his stalker. Well, okay. Again, he said he's going to smoke. Oh, please. Okay. What did Slim Thug do? There we go. What's this one?
Man, I'm gonna tell you this, man. Only thing you gotta do sometime is close your mouth and just listen to what these folks say, and you'll figure out every motherfucking thing they got going on, man. This motherfucker Slim Thug online talking about, oh, they got me, they caught me slipping. Y'all folk don't realize that this motherfucker was living in the penthouse. Ain't no motherfucker getting access to the penthouse unless that motherfucker gave them a key. Then that motherfucker all out, oh, it would have been a good lick if I would have had insurance, because I would have got paid. You tell me a motherfucker who say that they got money and living in a motherfucking penthouse, but they ain't got insurance on the things in the penthouse. Y'all motherfuckers better realize these motherfuckers broke like a motherfucker, and they pulling scams like any other motherfucker trying to get that motherfucking money back, man. These motherfuckers ain't getting booked for no shows, getting booked for no motherfucker.
And my point is this, and we're listening to this guy for advice. We're listening to Young Slim Thug for advice. He ain't even Young Thug. Young Thug got his own problems, though. We already know that.
Now, I promise you, if you are a BM or you are a pick-me Black woman, you may want to exit this video now because I'm done playing. I'm done playing. I'm really, really done playing with y'all. For real, because the lies that Black men tell and spread to the world has got to stop now because they are so uneducated and know nothing but only speak on their hatred and bias towards Black women. Even though without a Black woman, they wouldn't even be alive to sit there and say the stupid things that they say. And then my thing is that y'all say all of these bad things about Black women, but then want to put out y'all bat signal to try to sleep with somebody. Just
Right. Tiffany breaks it down perfectly like this. It is a shame these Black men allowed the entertainment industry to tag them with names like Slim Thug, Young Thug, Lil Baby, etc., degrade for fame. Bars.
just like Slim Thug was doing with Meg Thee Stallion. Want to use the Black woman, but only want to throw dirt and negativity on our names. But, you know, as you guys already know, I like to go with straight facts, raw data, and numbers because at the end of the day, those things are not up for debate. So let's address the things that this man, if I can call him that, said point by point.
Raised by their mama, and their mama got child support, and they kept the daddy away from them.
First of all, let's stop this BS right now. The majority of Black women are not keeping their children away from Black men. It's not happening. And if you were an active parent, you would know how ridiculous that is. It is extremely hard being a parent, and it is even harder being a mother. Most mothers would love the chance and the opportunity for a break for their father to come take them or watch them or share in the parenting. So let's do that. Let's address that. Now, let me say this also. It is a blatant lie to try to take the blame off of absent fathers and put it on the present Black mother.
Exactly. Always been my point. And you know I have to play.
Brother, come on now.
University, let's do what we do. Peace and Pan-Africanism. All right.
You're a legend for this.
I don't get it. Let me just spin it.
That's it. Okay, and then here's the next one.
Check it out. Y'all on my Instagram.
Those poor kids.
Oh, these are some young people. They don't even look college age to me. Some of them, they look like they in high school. Some of them. Yeah, Umar, he's turned into a meme. That's what the young people know him for. This, that. Boy, that hairline, boy, I tell ya.
He is a consummate narcissist.
Yeah, they look like middle schoolers. What's up, Stash? And Jesus Christ.
It's brought to you by Lennon. So let me go forward here.
Off of here, and I want to go back to the 24th. A black man who he put observatory on the roof. He killed. It ain't the first time because I got it inside my nose. He will say food stamps. He said it before. He desperate, just desperate for money because he need to get that plug. Not to open up no school. He needs that raw cash and food stamps.
So, Darnell, what are your thoughts about Dr. Umar?
Well, one is he even really? I'm still trying to figure out if he's really a doctor, but I have a very low opinion of Dr. Umar. And I'm only calling him doctor out of caution that if he is a real doctor, he does deserve the title of respect. But at the same time, again, he's just he's the same as, and I'm beginning to learn this about people a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people on the internet, whether it's man or woman. A lot of these people are fake, are grifters, and frauds. In the case of his school, it ain't never getting built, and rather than, again, accepting accountability. And then when he talks about black men, you need to do better, and you need to take care of your kids, all this other stuff, come to find out you ain't taking care of yours.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I got a problem with that.
I got a problem with that too. And I got a problem with this next person too. Now I'm going to put on.
The New York Times is reporting on what we've been reporting on for months, and it is that Elon Musk is an untreated drug addict, completely out of control, chainsawing everything with reckless abandon. Put up the headline. On the campaign trail, Elon Musk juggled drugs and family drama. As Mr. Musk entered President Trump's orbit, his private life grew increasingly tumultuous, and his drug use was more intense than previously known. And here's what I have to say. When you look at...
Than previously known. I mean, and just to think that this guy was very close to running the country. We literally have at least one drug addict running the country.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can be said.
Yeah, I mean, well, he still builds spaceships,
Well, he hired somebody to build spaceships.
True.
He hires them. So let's be clear. Let's be accurate.
Yeah. You're right. He does hire people to do it, but
I will say this: he is good at hiring excellent talent to do things, to invent things, or to make things for him.
Yep, absolutely.
At his behavior when he was doing toe touches and acting crazy on the stage, going, "I'm dark MAGA," and Trump's droning on about Hannibal Lecter. It was very obvious to me that these people were on something or suffering from some sort of mental collapse. And then when Trump was inaugurated, Elon Musk's eyes were rolling in the back of his head. And this should have been above the fold everywhere. And
here's the thing. It's happening again. The last time that dude was president, he couldn't keep anybody on panel. I mean, I will say this. It's not just black men that never learn. You know what I mean? Because we've seen this story before.
On the same day, that evening, is when he does his Sig Heils. So welcome to reporting on the absolute train wreck that is Elon Musk, the New York Times. Thank you for joining.
Right. It amazes me, all of these headlines that come out, and it's like, no shit, Sherlock. Like, this is the most obvious thing in history. And you just look at Elon Musk's behavior, like you said. It's just deplorable. He's got the chainsaw. But more importantly...
Hazelbeck says Elon Musk was Donald's DEI hire, y'all.
He went in and he's harming veterans. He's harming poor people, and he has no conscience. So he's either a sociopath, some kind of drug addict, or a malignant narcissist or all of the above, which I think he's definitely all of the above.
Okay, now here's an excerpt from this article. Pop this up, Kelly. Mr. Musk's drug consumption went well beyond occasional use. He told people he was taking so much ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic use. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, and he traveled with a daily medication box that held about 20 pills, including ones with the markings of the stimulant Adderall, according to a photo of the box and people who have seen it. And here's what I have to say about this. Drug addiction is very serious. It is a very serious medical condition. And
wow. I saw something here. So he's all, this is the hypocrisy of it all. So they're all strict about what other people are supposed to do, but this guy's literally popping pills whilst running the country. That's crazy to me.
Yep.
Anyway, Darnell, I think that's I think it's been a good night. You've been amazing online. I appreciate you coming up.
I think you're being too nice, DJ. I think watching paint dry is probably more entertaining than listening to my black ass.
Yeah, you're right. I'm being too nice. No, but I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. I think this time I'm going to kick the beat on the way out. I think I'm going to do that. Oh, wait. Okay, J Mike's back. Oh, J Mike, you're back?
Yeah, we had to go help my sister with her console.
Okay, I hear that. Okay, I'm going to play one of my favorite tunes by Ghost. Ghost turned me on to this. So here we go, folks. Here we go. I go.
Old head reckless, young trap got paid. Both sides foul game, dirty game fake. Ain't no winners when the soul's at stake.
All right, in the house. Tiffany Jackson. Act Natural Under Pressure. Henry Mars. Hazel Bud. On stage. Briefly, Deontay. Deontay, I'm gonna switch up. I'm gonna switch up to a better platform. Shout out to Darnell and Tevin on stage. Henry Mars, Tanya Sweat, Natural Under Pressure, Cyber Dreams. QB sneak in a DM slide. Touchdown dreams with a penalty pride. Tape rolling, contracts folding. Eden Adele. Legacy fame corroding. She called an audible, flipped the scheme. Took the tape, made a lawsuit mean. Said consensual, bro, read the screen. You lined up wrong, now you part of the meme. Flag on the play, both sides wild. Old fool, young shark, dirty to foul. This ain't love, it's a circus trial. Indiana mom. Flag on the play, 15-yard pile. Flag on the play, lose it in style. Lose it in style. Conscious mind, love. Both of y'all chasing clout, losing face. He caught slipping, she caught a case. Big money, bad press, dirty disgrace. NFL legend in a TikTok race. Timeout call, but the damage done. No Hail Mary. Why is seeking knowledge? Old tricks, new schemes, same sad run. Flag on the play, game over, son. Flag on the play, both sides wild. This Alto. Young shark, dirty to foul. This ain't love, it's a circus trial. Angela Reddick. Flag on the play, 15-yard. It's Alto. Flag on the play, lose it in style. All right, everybody, have a good night.